Kenya. Let's move on to Zambia because petrol and diesel prices have surged by 21% at the end of April. That's following the government's removal of the fuel subsidy, with the IMF noting that the funding of energy has several implications. So for more on the analysis of how this is going to pan out, Trevor Samumba, Managing Director at Sub-Saharan Consulting Group, joining us on the line. Trevor, what's your assessment of this? Because we saw in Nigeria they were forced to return to a phasing out of fuel subsidies. They had the same in Ghana, but you're looking at fuel subsidies pretty much being scrapped. What's your assessment of how this is going to impact the economy?
Yes, I think the removal of this fuel subsidy will have a great impact. What has surprised many of the analysts is the fact that the government did not indicate in the budget, nor did they indicate in the medium-term expenditure framework, which is a 3-year program, of the intention to remove this subsidy. In fact, when the government came in, they came in on the promise that they would keep fuel prices down and that they will ensure that they change the whole procurement system of fuel in Zambia. But unfortunately, this has not been the case. There was even a commission of inquiry where a lot of money was spent to try and come up with new proposals to liberalize the fuel procurement system and make it more transparent and accountable. But unfortunately, we're still running the same system with a lot of middlemen and costs involved in the procurement of fuel.
So should they also be looking, of course, at taking costs out of the whole supply chain, as well as looking to reduce subsidies from government? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, but looking at the money that is being saved by this, I mean, 1.1 trillion kwacha is what they're putting on the table right now. And of course, you have to adjust for the new currency system. But overall, they're saying that is what they would have spent on subsidies in 2013. That could be diverted to more productive areas of the economy. Do you agree with the government that of course, would be a positive in terms of where they'd be spending that money? Or do you think that they should have phased this fuel subsidy out like Nigeria did?
Yes, I think they should have phased the removal of the fuel subsidy. But what is more important is that 1.1 trillion that is now available, will it actually go into productive areas of the economy? Because we have a bloated government still. We still have a lot of wastage in the system. We still have high taxes on actual importation of petroleum products. Because, for instance, if you do import diesel or petrol into Zambia, you still have to pay 25% tax. I would have thought that the government should have tackled the tax issue first before removing this subsidy, because what it's going to do is that it's going to impact on inflation, because Zambia is a landlocked country. We rely a lot on road transportation, so transportation costs are going to go up. We're going to see an increase in the cost of supplying of inputs to the farmer, so fertilizer, seed. There will be an increased cost, which means there will be an increased cost of our maize, and we still have subsidy on maize production. So I see, unfortunately, in the next 2 to 3 months, I see most of government's targets being not met. And remember, that itself is one of the biggest buyers of fuel. So it means that all the budget targets have now seen an escalation by 21%, because government will have to pay more for its own fuel that it's using. Even in the infrastructure projects that are happening right now, there will be a cost escalation. So my concern is that there may be a major impact on inflation. I don't think government will be able to meet its targets in terms of macroeconomic growth. Investment will probably decline, and production costs will increase for most of the industrial sectors.
Do you think that then it was a misinformed decision, a decision that was taken too hastily? I mean, given the fact that you say it's going to have inflationary impacts, given the fact that you say it's going to impact, the cost of transportation, the cost for manufacturers, they could potentially pass this on to consumers. I mean, could this ultimately result in consumers or Zambians revolting against the complete removal of the subsidy?
Yes, there's already indications of that. Just today on the news, the road transporters, the bus transporters were saying they have to increase their fares by almost 30%, effective on Monday. I was speaking to a few people. I'm just coming from town right now. I'm sitting actually in a taxi, and the taxi driver is telling me that they have to increase the fares. Already, we've seen an increase in the price of cement. We've seen an increase in the price of meal, because transport costs in Zambia are pretty high, and they're a major component of the economy. So I foresee the government reversing this decision before the end of this year. That's what I see. I don't think they'll be able to withstand the political backlash that's going to come from this increase in fuel prices. And mind you, right now there's discussions going on to increase electricity tariffs. So we're going to have a double whammy: electricity increases in the tariffs, and then also fuel price increases. So it's going to be a very difficult next 3 to 6 months in Zambia.
Well, we'll definitely be tracking this story, but thank you very much for joining us, Trevor. Appreciate your time. Trevor Samumba, Managing Director at the Sub-Saharan Consulting Group.